Maybe you've had a spiritual awakening and you're with a partner who isn't spiritually awakened, or maybe they're just not spiritually awakened yet. Will this be a successful relationship for you both? The truth is, no one can be the answer to that. No one can tell you yes, it will work, and no, it won't. That's not a fair way to treat any situation, but there are some ways that you can assess if it's going to work for you. And that's what I'm going to show you in this video, is how to tell if being in a relationship with a non-spiritual person is actually going to work and be successful and be fulfilling. So I'm going to go through these 5 points on the board here, and the last one, trust the process, is a very intense thing that I'm going to take you through. And it's quite a transformative way to look at the situation to see if this is even going to work for you. So I'm going to start off by telling my story. For 4 years, I was with somebody who wasn't spiritual, and I wasn't either. I was indoctrinated with a religious perspective, and my mind was only about religion. Spirituality as a concept that I understand today, I didn't have when I was first with my girlfriend. And we broke up for 1.5 years, and in that 1.5 years is when I had my spiritual awakening. And I started to understand the way things worked from the spiritual perspective. And what basically happened was I decided to manifest the feeling of being in love. Now, what I mean by that is I decided to feel the feeling of being in love that my imagination created. And it wasn't tied to a specific person. It wasn't tied to somebody like her or another girl. It wasn't what was happening for me. I just wanted to feel the feeling. And I realized I didn't have to limit it to the imagination. I could feel it in the current moment. 2 weeks later, she came back and things were great. And we started off, kind of trying to rekindle the relationship. And now we're 4 years onto that journey. And she's not necessarily an awakened spiritual person. She appreciates a lot of spiritual concepts, but I wouldn't say she's spiritual or spiritually awakened. And our relationship is still a lot better. And it's because of these 5 points. And that's what I want to share with you today. So if you are in a relationship with somebody and they are not spiritual and you are, or maybe you're the one who's not quite spiritual and they are, and you don't know how this is going to work moving forward, this video is going to help you with exactly that. I want to give you clarity on whether or not this relationship is going to work for you. And if you don't want to miss content about making spirituality practical so you can apply it in your lives to manifest your dreams or to have healthier relationships, make sure to hit the subscribe button, turn your notifications on so that you don't miss another upload. And don't forget, most importantly, guys, I respond to every single comment. So any content you would like to see me break down, leave it in the comments below. I will respond to you. And if it fits the idea of the channel, I'm going to make a video on your specific topic. So don't forget, subscribe, be notified when I release your video. So the first thing to understand is reflections. Now, what happens when you are with somebody and they are with you, you are a reflection to each other. The only way two people can be together or a part of each other's life is if they meet each other on a certain frequency. You cannot meet somebody that is not of your frequency. You never will. It will never be a thing that happens, especially a romantic connection with someone. And for some of us, it's hard to accept, especially in toxic connections where relationships aren't going really well or aren't, comfortable in a lot of ways. With my girlfriend, when we were together the first 4 years, it wasn't a good connection. We broke up, got back together, broke up, got back together the whole time. It wasn't a pleasant thing. And what I had to accept in my awakening was that we matched each other at our self-worth level. And for me, I didn't feel very worthy, and neither did she, which caused a lot of things in the relationship to reflect to both of us that we needed to work on our own self-worth. And that's why reflections are so important. If you've had a spiritual awakening and your partner is not spiritually awakened, to see in them that they are a reflection of you and whatever frequency you're meeting them at is one of the most powerful things you can do, not only for your relationship, but for yourself. They are a reflection to your things you do and don't like. And it's hard to accept, especially the parts you don't like. So when you realize that they are a reflection of you, they are a reflection of something within you, good or bad, that is the only way you build. And that is what leads into this very intense part of trusting the process. So next we have opportunities. Now, when you are somebody who's had a spiritual awakening and you're in a relationship with somebody who hasn't, if the awakening happened before you met them or while you've been together, it's actually irrelevant. What happens in this opportunity aspect is as you awaken, if you stay true to that authenticity that happens from that spiritual realization, you become the reflection and have an opportunity for others to awaken. That is planting a seed that may grow. Now, if you stay your ego character with these people in your life, it can be romantic, it can be anything, anyone you know. If you stay that egoic character that you've developed over years of knowing them, and you don't become that authenticity. Instead, you stay who you know them as because you might not want to lose them or whatever your reasons are. Then you deny them the opportunity to see what you've seen in the awakening through you. Because the opportunity there is that you've become awakened. And if you are your authentic self, you will be a calling to them, a spiritual bell going off in their head, a spiritual light that they can be drawn to. So being authentic to yourself is a must in these situations, especially with romantic partners. Things change. There was a study, and I don't know the exact details, you guys know verbatim's not my thing, but there was a study that I had read a while ago, and it was quite interesting how every 5 years we evolve into new people. We change the way we think, our psychology changes, the way we behave completely turns around because we change through our growth and through our life. And once we start to change through our growth and through our life and things like that, then the reflections are going to change. We know that spiritually everything is a reflection. So when things start to change and people start to change around us, or we start to change, we're offering people the opportunity to come along with us or to leave it, depending on what their frequency needs are. I have a very good friend of mine, love him to bits, one of my best friends. And when I went through the awakening, our friendship completely changed. He was just not involved anymore. For him, the frequency calling of my new stage of authenticity didn't match. And so our friendship went stale for years. And now we sort of gravitated back to each other. So maybe that's him about to teach me something that I'm now on the frequency of, or vice versa. So the opportunity for someone to awaken starts to happen if you awaken. As a spiritual being, you now offer that as a reflection to them. So your authenticity is a must. You have to be authentic. And what that's going to allow things to do again is getting into trust the process of how things can evolve in your relationship. So coming into that very point of authenticity, as you become authentic within yourself, and I know I discussed it in that previous point, but in more detail, as you become more authentic within yourself and choose to be the new spiritual identity rather than the egoic identity, those relationships then start to change. So people will look at you and be like, I don't really like them anymore. They've changed. They're all esoteric. And that's them removing themselves. But that's also then an indication to you that they are not a reflection of your authenticity. And this may happen in your romantic relationship. Someone might not want to come along the path. But what you are doing is not chasing them away. You're manifesting a better fit. And that's what is essentially happening all the time. We never really lose people in our lives. We're manifesting a better fit, something more aligned to our state of authenticity. So it's very important to understand that respecting the way things happen, and it's a hard thing to do, it's not easy. But being authentic and allowing the outcome of your authenticity is probably the most courageous thing you can do as a spiritual being. Because you're choosing to be you, not who other people want you to be. And even then, how would you know you're doing it right? How would you know that you're authentically being what they actually want? It's a perception thing, it's not authentic. So if you just be who you are meant to be, you will offer the right reflection and opportunity to everybody who's in your life. And that might happen, like I say, for your romantic relationship. And if it does, that's what trusting the process is part of. If they do leave, you've got to trust that part of the process. Coming into point number 4 is patience. Now, when we speak about being patient, what happens is we have a time dilation. We have to wait out time. Things are morphed into this experience of time. Spiritually, you are whole and complete, and you've completed your life. You didn't come here to make choices. You came here to understand why you made them. And that's a quote from the Matrix movie. I just love that quote. I struggled with this for a while. If everything's pre-planned and everything's just going to happen the way the universe wants, do I even have the power to choose things? And the answer is yes and no. Everything you choose has a specific outcome for you. But you're not here to make the choice. You're here to understand why it was already made. Because as a spiritual being, you're whole and complete. This lifetime is complete spiritually. So the time we have to go through to process and understand why that decision was made is so that we can better understand our spiritual identities and become more conscious of that reality. Now, what that does in a partner, we have to be patient for. You are going to change. And if your partner just all of a sudden changed, you would also have to understand what that's about. You would have to learn and understand what that change meant. What is it going to mean for the future of your relationship? And a good one is this. I always thought I was going to be a father. And through the last 2-3 years, I've actually really been considering it. Am I going to be a dad? I don't know. I don't know what the universe has got planned, but I'm actually distilling that in my mind and trying to understand what that even means. I love my dad very much, but his and my relationship is not one of like father-son. We're friends. I didn't live in the house with him after like 10 years old. So we have a different relationship, and I've really been thinking, do I want to be a father? And that's something that will genuinely shift a relationship completely. If I'm with somebody who definitely wants to be a mother, and I've now come to this uncertainty phase, what does that mean for her version of the relationship? So this patience aspect is so important, and it's hard to get through because it's a time and a period and moments of a lack of understanding. And being in the unknown is not comfortable. But what it will do is be an opportunity for you to understand something about you that you do not know, because that is a reflection. So patience is something you have to consider. But patience comes with one caveat, and this is something you have to consider. A best friend of mine who had his spiritual awakening this year, he's in this new kind of connection, this new relationship, and he's loving the journey of it as a spiritual person now and as awake. This relationship means so much to him. And what he turned around and said to his partner was, listen, you're not in competition with other girls. You're in competition with my peace. So if someone is robbing your peace, and for you to stay in your awakened state is a battle, then this patience aspect is going to teach you exactly that. That over 3 months after my awakening, it's like I get dragged down by their presence. And that's an indication to you that they are in competition with your peace. Are you holding on because you've got to be patient and they're going to come and join you on this frequency? Or are they going to try and hold you down? Because people who notice other people climbing don't want to be the last people to see over the cloud. So what they do is hold people around them down while they try and figure out how to climb. You don't want to be one of those people. You've changed and transitioned as a spiritual person from an anchor to a balloon. So you got to soar, and you can't be stuck tied to that anchor anymore of a partner. And in that, you see that reflection. It will show you what parts of you are holding you down. So you see it's all part of this reflection aspect. So when they are there and they're going, I don't really want to change, what are you doing? And they try and say, you're not yourself, and all those manipulative things. It's about a reflective moment there for you. What are they reflecting to you? What about their energy is making them scared? You can see it. As a spiritual person, you'll understand that they might be feeling insecure. Then what insecurities are holding you back? And that's part of the message and the lesson to learn, because everything is about soulful growth. It's about consciousness trying to understand itself. Coming into the most important part is trusting the process. All of this tells you one main story. Everything is a reflection. So will it work? Will the relationship be successful? Are you willing to accept the parts of you now see in them? If you're willing to accept that, and it's a positive thing, maybe it's gentleness, maybe the reflection they still give you is gentleness. That's a very positive, high frequency energy to have, because gentleness is the absence of aggression or impulsiveness. So they might be a reflection through their gentle but nature of patience. So it's about what that reflection is. Is that a reflection you want in your life? It all comes down to that. What frequency do you want to live on? Do they reflect that frequency to you, or are they a reflection of the parts you still need to work on? At the end of the day, one of two things will happen, and this is what the process maintains. Either they are going to come to your level and join your frequency and enjoy that with you, or they are going to exit your life. Both options are a solution to your spiritual self. So your relationship can very well be a successful one with somebody who's not spiritual, but it can also be another lesson. It can be a lesson to you about what spiritual things you still need to work on, what shadow work you need to do. And everyone is going to be that type of reflection for you. You'll never really lose someone. We're all one. We are one consciousness, one existence. The atoms around you are part of you. So I hope this has resonated and made sense to tell you whether or not you can have a successful relationship as a spiritual person with someone who isn't spiritual. If you've enjoyed this, leave it a like. And if you have any questions, don't forget, leave them in the comment section. I hope to see you on my subscribers list, and I'll see you on the next video. Mad love and light.